All I'm going to say is it's topped with several different drizzlings of yumminess and what looks to be white chocolate chips. I'm pretty excited about it.
They have like the Luna tuna, which is kind of a lemon base. They have the Dragon tuna, which is a little bit more spicy, but I call it one of the best bites in town. Thanks for joining us on Louisiana's Playground Podcast, your roadmap to all things Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm Brady Raynard.
And I'm Jillian Corder. We're excited to bring you the authentic stories and experiences of Southwest Louisiana with all the tools that you need to build your perfect personal Lake Charles itinerary.
Or maybe your Chuck Eats itinerary.
That's right.
Special episode coming your way, the first of 2024, as we talk Chuck Eats 2024. Remember last year we brought you this episode, and it really performed well. A lot of you really got in on Chuck Eats Restaurant Week using our podcast, as we said, as a bit of a guide to the fun week ahead. Coming up at the end of this month, Friday, January 19th is when it begins, and it will end the following Sunday, not the next Sunday, but the following after that, Sunday, January 28th, 10 straight days of just great Lake Charles restaurants.
We should rename it Chuck Eats Restaurant Week and a Half.
We were thinking about that, but
Yeah?
It's not quite as catchy,
You don't think it rolls off the tongue?
It doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
Okay, fine.
32 different restaurants have signed up this year as we aim to really show off our culinary spirit that we have here in Lake Charles. So many different options, and not just Lake Charles, but the lake area, because we've got restaurants from Vinton and Westlake and Sulphur as well, all kind of in on the mix. And so a lot of different options, whether it be breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner, for you to choose from. And Jill and I are going to kind of go over each of those and kind of give you some pointers, I guess, going in.
While we love talking to all of our guests, I can tell you that Brady and I are both very excited about this week because talking about food might be our favorite thing.
I find myself eating every single day.
Yeah, weird how that happens, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so.
Yeah, it's a habit.
Well, look, we kind of broke them up into categories, if you will. Whether it be kind of the Lake Charles staples. For that one, it's going to be places that you probably go fairly often if you're in Lake Charles, but there might be something surprising there on the menu. A date night category, a place that's really going to impress your significant other if you take her there or take him there. Trying something new, maybe some places that are not that traditional fare that you would typically eat, places that you definitely need to try, places located inside the casino, and then what we're calling off the beaten path. Basically, that means outside of Lake Charles, heading to Westlake, Sulphur, or Vinton. So let's get it started, Jillian. We'll start with Crying Eagle.
Crying Eagle. This year, they're going to be offering a $20 lunch and dinner with jalapeno poppers, a pizza or burger, and a soda. And Crying Eagle, of course, is a brewery, so you get to try all their excellent beers there that they've got going on. You can order a flight, so you get a little taste test, basically, of several different options. A really fun scene there, too.
Yeah, the actual environment and the atmosphere there is really what makes part of the experience. And so, obviously, they revamped their menu last year. It's all really good, and I think you'll enjoy if you swing by Crying Eagle. Another place that offers a very similar scene, but it's completely different in terms of their food options, and that's Panorama Music House in downtown Lake Charles. They're also doing the $20 lunch or dinner, but they do a little bit different, and you can see it here. They open with cracklins as the appetizer, and then you get an entree, and those include things like pizza or burgers, or what I get when I go, they're birria tacos. Very, very good. Dipping in that consomme. They're awesome.
Yeah, the birria tacos are really good. Their pizzas are absolutely delicious, and they're huge. If you order a big one, we always get one for feeds the entire family.
These will be personal size though within the Chuck E.
Sure. And but yeah, you can't really go wrong with anything on Panorama's menu. Plus, again, the vibe, the atmosphere there, always fun. Lots of televisions, lights. They've always got live music playing. It's a good time every time you go. Next up, we've got Coffee 30, which again, you can't go wrong with any of these places. I'm going to say that a lot. Sorry, it's going to be it's going to be a recurring theme. You can't go wrong. $20 there. You get a 2-course meal, and of course, they have lots of options on their appetizers and entrees, including their amazing
Yeah,
beignets.
that's really the show stealer there. They do so many different things well, whether it be their coffees and their desserts and even their entrees and stuff like that. But the beignets are really the star of the show there at Coffee 30 and a must get if you go. Heading back downtown, Tia Juanita's Fish Camp. They too will have lunch and dinner specials for you to try. Although I can't mention Tia Juanita's without mentioning those spicy beef nachos. They are so amazing. Some of my favorite nachos in town. So much cheese and meat and jalapenos, and it's just it's a hard time for those chips that have to just bear the weight of all that deliciousness.
Yeah, you get those every time you go there. I'm surprised they still can offer them to other people because you get those piled on a lot. Rotolo's delicious Italian cuisine is offering $25 for a three-course meal. You get to pick an appetizer, a pizza, or a meatball sandwich, plus a dessert, including their king cake calzone. So for those wanting to try something a little different that you'll only get here in Louisiana, a king cake
And
calzone might
only
be
on
for
Chuck
you.
Eats Week. I don't That was a late addition. They had different calzone on the menu, a dessert calzone there, and they just added it this week. We've kind of changed it up. So I'm very interested in the king cake calzone. And we're Rotolo lovers as well with all that they have to offer. So that's a great spot to stop as well. How about this? The Terrace at Lake Area Adventures. Chef Amanda Cusey whipping up some interesting options for you. Three-course meal. You open with something like chili or maybe gumbo egg rolls. She's also doing a Bayou shrimp. And then from there, you move on to an entree, which you have burger options, pasta options, or shrimp and grits. And then for dessert, I had to ask her about this because I was blown away.
Yeah.
Deep fried bread pudding, and it looks as good as it tastes, or I hope so. It looks as good as it sounds.
You haven't tasted it yet,
Correct.
but Amanda did send over a picture of this, and oh my goodness, it looks pretty good. And
Pretty good.
all I'm gonna say is it's topped with several different drizzlings of yumminess and what looks to be white chocolate chips. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Just kind of downplaying how much I want it until it looks amazing when you finally get it in front of you.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, as is everything that, Chef QC whips up over there. So, I'm excited about that one as well. Moving on. Okay, Nina Peas is offering a $35 three-course meal. They've got appetizers like crawfish bread, boudin egg rolls, entrees like their famous voodoo burger, which is my favorite when I
That's your
go.
go-to.
That is my go-to. Uh, or chicken Nina and a choice of 8 different desserts, including a pie of the day or some king cake cheesecake. This is Mardi Gras season, y'all.
And it's so perfect, right?
You're going to get a lot of king cake options at so many restaurants here in the lake area.
And you just get to benefit from it.
Mhm.
Paul's Rib Shack, just down the road from Nina P's, is doing their Reuben special. Usually, this is a sandwich that's reserved for Fridays. It's award winning, voted the best Reuben in town, and they're offering it all week long. You get that, a drink, and their incredible, amazing, perfect. Throw out any adjective you want. Blackberry rum sauce bread pudding. You get all of that for under $20. And that's I went there last year for their Chuck Eats deal, and of course got the bread pudding. And every chance I get to get their bread pudding, I take.
Every time that Paul's Rib Shack is at an area event like the Food and Wine Festival or Rouge Blanc, every time they're out there, Brady runs up to the booth and is like, "Did you bring the bread pudding?" And they don't always have it there at those events, and Brady's like, "Okay, well, I'll go back to the restaurant tonight."
Paul, bring the bread pudding.
Bring the bread pudding. It's delicious. Okay, Rick and Jack's is offering a $10 breakfast, which comes with a mimosa, $25 lunch and dinner, and they've got so many offerings there. But lunch and dinner comes with an appetizer, an entree like a burger or sandwich, and a dessert, which includes their banana nut bread pudding.
And that's
So
another
good.
great atmosphere spot too.
Sure.
Outdoor seating's great, especially during this time of the year. If you can really catch one of those warm lunch days where you can sit outside at 70 degrees, no wind chill, and it's just kind of beautiful out there. They've got a great outdoor setup for that.
They do, and they often have live music as well. They've got some, like, outdoor games like the giant Jenga and, Connect Four kinda games and things like that. It's a really fun atmosphere for sure.
Well, just down Ryan Street, Southern Spice, they're offering their $14 breakfast. They have a multitude of options there. On that does include their beignets and some of their French toast as well. And then they have an under $20 lunch that has two courses. You get like gumbo or salad, maybe even fried green beans as an appetizer. And then they follow it up with some more Louisiana fare with like a po' boy or some of their specialty burgers. They also have like a fried shrimp entree. Southern Spice really does Louisiana food well and breakfast too. And that's a great place to go. And they're offering a really good deal. Another great restaurant joining in is Maplewood Burgers, both their Lake Charles and their Moss Bluff location. They're doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For breakfast, a $6.99 deal, biscuits and gravy, and you get a choice of either bacon or sausage and eggs, and it's all cooked however you want it. And then for lunch and dinner, oh boy, how about this? So they're famous for their stuffed burgers. So good. There's so many different options to choose from, and they're bringing back one of their fan favorites for Chuck Eats Week. It's a beef burger, and it's stuffed with pepperoni, Italian sausage, and mozzarella cheese, and then it's topped off with a drizzle of marinara in between buns, and it comes with fries and a milkshake for, get this, $12.99. What a deal, and definitely going to be a stop. I might even do a Maplewood Monday there to open that last full week. But in addition to that burger, so many great burger options and chicken options there on the menu. It's a definite try, and it's a place that you'll need to come back a couple of times because there are so many different options on the menu. And Say's always thinking of new experiments to add. So Maplewood Burger is another welcomed addition to Chuck Eats.
Okay, Luna. So you can go to either Luna downtown or Luna South off of Nelson Road. So two different options there, but they're going to be offering a brunch, lunch, and dinner special coming at price tag of $15, $10, and $30 respectively. So make sure that you try the tuna steak.
That's really my favorite.
That is your absolute favorite. It's topped with
So they have multiple ones. They have like the Luna tuna, which is kind of a lemon base. They have the
okay.
dragon tuna, which is a little bit more spicy, but really also flavorful. They put it on a sandwich sometimes, which a lot of people love the tuna sandwich. And I know you're a big fan of their ranch, right?
Oh my gosh. Cosmic Ranch is in fact out of this world. It's so good. And get this, while you're at Luna eating your lovely meal during Chuck Eats Week, ask to buy a bottle of the Cosmic Ranch because they sell it by the bottle. That's how good it is.
And feels like we always have multiple bottles in our refrigerator.
In fact, I need to restock. This is a good reminder.
Yeah. But I do want to mention that tuna, though. I call it one of the best bites in town. So it's definitely a must if you go.
Okay, I get to talk about chicken salad chick, right?
Sure.
Because I am in fact a chicken salad chick. That's that's my lane for lunch. So they're going to be offering a $15 lunch and dinner. That's the Chick Trio, which are three different scoops of any of your choices of chicken salad. They have like 12
A lot of different ones for
I
sure.
think they have a dozen different chicken salad options there. So whether you're like a fancy Nancy person or a cranberry Kelly or a sassy Scotty, those are my three favorites.
I thought you were just being really good with some of the names that you're going.
No, I didn't make those up. Those are my three favorite chicken salads that they offer. But you get a Chick Trio drink and a dessert, cheesecake, a flour cookie, or Rice Krispie treat to go with your lunch or dinner.
And those cookies are so good.
They are so good.
They just melt in your mouth. They're really
They
really
look like
good.
the most unassuming little sugar cookie that you could get, and it's so delicious.
We had a basket of them here at work, and I think I probably had like 40 in the month of November or something.
Keep
It was
walking back
bad.
over there to get
It was
more.
bad. From there, we'll go Casa Manana. They have lunch and dinner specials. And of course, queso is an option for the appetizer for both. They also have their firecrackers, which is, to me, really the item on their menu that really stands out and is kind of their signature, right? It's a mix of different meats and sauces. They have like some sausage in there and chicken, and it is a very spicy, flavorful, definitely has a lot of Louisiana kick to it,
Yeah.
I would say, almost like a Louisiana Mexican style, right?
Sure, and it's rolled in a tortilla, and you can either get it grilled or deep fried, and you can ask also for, a combo.
Yeah, and so definitely take the combo. They'll also have enchiladas, quesadillas as well. For dinner, they also have a few non-Mexican options, things like chipotle fried fish or grilled chicken coubillon. And for dessert, you get three choices: sopapilla, Bavarian cream churros, or funnel cake fries. Yeah, yeah, they all sound really delicious. So that's Casa Manana.
Nice. Okay, so let's move on. So those are all of our Lake Charles staples. Let's move on to date night. So in case you're wanting to go somewhere a little different, get a little fancy,
Hmm.
and take your loved one out on a date. We're going to start with James 710. They have lots of great options for lunch and dinner, and they have completely different menus for lunch and for dinner. First up, appetizers, guac and trash.
It sounds off-putting immediately, right? Like, who wants to eat something that has trash in the name? However, you immediately take that back the second that you dip your chip into it. You know, you have the guac, and the trash portion of it is so delicious. Their chips are made in house, incredible as well. An excellent open to the meal, despite it, yes, being called guac and trash.
That sounds great to me. I know that when we make, like, what we call trash can nachos at our house,
Yep.
it's probably something similar, and it's always good. But they've also got enchiladas, hanger steak, and trout for an entree.
And they're so good. What James 710 does, the atmosphere plays into it. Just such a relaxed, cool, modern spot. You can't go wrong going there for date night. As well as 121 Artisan Bistro, one of my favorite places to really go for lunch in town. And they're a great dinner spot, too. They're doing lunch and dinner options as well. Uh, that includes soup and salad, plus a seafood appetizer, things like calamari or shrimp, and then pasta for lunch. And then for dinner, you've got super salad. They have the seafood appetizer again, and then you get that 16-ounce ribeye steak. And everything that I've ever had there has been just phenomenal. But the thing that takes the cake to me is that Parmesan bread that they bring at the start of the meal. And I'm not the biggest bread guy, but yet every slice that I take, it feels like I'm fighting everyone at the table for the next piece.
You are, in fact, and asking for more constantly. And you talk about it after we leave, no matter what we had for dinner there, which is always good. Brady's always talking about the bread for like weeks on end. So it's pretty good. You should try it out. Also, you should try the Villa Harlequin in downtown Lake Charles, a great little spot. Lunch and dinner specials there, sandwich, burger offerings for lunch with a dessert. And for dinner, it's a 3-course meal. So you get a seafood appetizer, the roasted chicken or braised beef cheeks, and to finish it all off, baked lemon cheesecake with a blueberry topping.
They have some other dessert options, but that's the one that really caught my eye.
Yeah. Blueberry and lemon cheesecake. How can you go wrong?
Blueberry and lemon is such an odd pairing, but is so perfect
Oh,
together.
no, it's so refreshing.
It's so amazing. Yeah, exactly. It is so refreshing. It doesn't even feel like that you're eating something sweet.
Lemon cheesecake is one of those things where you feel somehow,
It's healthy.
yeah,
It's healthy.
right? You
They're
feel
both grown
it's
from the ground. It's healthy.
it's fruit.
Yeah.
You feel like it's not sinful, even though it definitely is.
There's also Bodega Wine Dive. They're really known for their charcuterie boards and their pizza, and of course their wine. Such a cool atmosphere. So many different pizza options as well. Definitely a place, if you have it going, you need to put on the list. And what better time to do that than Chuck Eats Week?
And back in downtown Lake Charles, Peugeot Street. 4 courses there for $47. You get a cup of gumbo to start and a side salad, followed by their salmon Avery, which is blackened and then topped with a wine sauce. And dessert follows with a bread pudding, a key lime pie, or Mardi Gras cheesecake.
And boy, that Mardi Gras cheesecake. I just shared a picture of it on my Facebook. So go find my Facebook page or go look on their Facebook. They posted a picture of that cheesecake. It's a 3-layer cheesecake, Jillian.
I know. I saw it too.
And it's kind of all I've been thinking about since I've seen it.
I think your words were, this should be illegal.
Yes, it was. It has a layer of blueberry, lemon, and pistachio. 3 of my favorite flavors. Once again, blueberry, lemon. It's healthy, and then
Sure.
and then it's pistachio. It's a nut. So once again, this is the healthiest dessert you'll ever have. and probably the tastiest.
Okay, but while we're on the topic of desserts here, Restaurant Cala is offering something amazing. So we're going to get to their dessert in just a second. Okay, 3 courses, spinach salad or crab bisque, then lamb, redfish, or short rib for an entree, followed by their creme caramel. Caramel? Caramel. Caramel.
Caramel.
That's it.
Caramel.
I'm just going to start saying it that way because I'm never sure how to say that, but my goodness, it sounds good.
Yes, and it's if it comes from Restaurant Cala, it will be. And something else to consider if you go there, their burgers are known as some of the best in Lake Charles, and so definitely a must get as well if you want to try something not on the quote unquote Chuck Eats price fix menu.
Sure. And also make sure to hit their bar because they come up with some really unique, interesting, cool things. I've seen them like set drinks on fire, etc. Like you're going to get something really cool at the bar.
Well, speaking of trying something new, these next few are going to be on the list of that they're not necessarily places that are the average Lake Charles fare, or they're new to Lake Charles and maybe you haven't given them a go yet. We'll start with Zeus on Prion Lake Road, which is a Greek Mediterranean style food. They have $25 lunch dinner, and you'll get appetizers like hummus or Grecian dip. And then you can follow that up with like chicken kebab, gyro, a burger, and then, of course, that dessert. You know, Greek desserts are so good. Things like baklava and tiramisu, and they do both of those really, really well.
So at Cafe Beignet at the Golden Doors Event Center, they're offering a $25 2-course meal that comes with some chicken and sausage gumbo and potato salad, as well as some beignets to polish it off. And they're a relatively new place in town.
For sure. And so maybe you haven't tried them yet, and this would be a perfect time because it's always gumbo season. Area 337, we just talked about them on our podcast. They're having lunch and dinner specials. Way too much for us to list here, though. So many different options for you to choose from. We kind of touched a little bit on it in the podcast, so make sure to listen there if you really want a feel of what they offer and Gus's story. So cool, so touching, and definitely will make you root for him moving forward. Some of the options on the menu that stick out to me, though, some of my favorites, things like the stewed chicken. Which is just smothered chicken in his grandmother's recipe. Comes with rice and beans and then plantains. So amazing.
The kebabs, which I had again this week. they're, they're just so good. They're hard to pass up. And as soon as someone mentions them, I'm like, oh, well, I have to eat that today. It's absolutely delicious. So what those are, in case you're not familiar, his are beef or cheese, and they're beef and cheese stuffed into a yuca, which is like a potato, like a mashed potato, and then it's deep fried. So how can you go wrong with that?
How can you go wrong, indeed? They also are offering something that's not typically on the menu, the pina colada creme brulee.
Mm.
And that just sounds amazing and,
I've had
and refreshing.
Well, I've had a pina colada there. Everything's so fresh there.
Yep.
All the ingredients are. So I can only imagine that in a creme brulee that would be absolutely delicious.
So if you've been wanting to try Area 337 and haven't quite done it, you know, they just recently opened their doors again after being closed for a few months. Now is the time to do it.
Chuck Eats Week, do it.
Let's move on to the casinos now. 5 different offerings there, 4 from L'Auberge. That's where we'll start. We'll do it at the sports book. Chef Lyle Broussard always is whipping up some interesting things. 3-course meal. You start with Nashville hot cracklins, move on to a ground ribeye, bacon, and beer cheeseburger, and then you get a choice of dessert off their menu, which they're all excellent as well. And it's just an amazing offering of just crazy flavors. Like I said, Chef Lyle Broussard is such a good representative for the area, and you're not going to go wrong if that's one of your choices that week.
Nashville hot cracklins. I know where to find you during Chuck E's Week. Okay, Johnny Sanchez, just down the hall there, is a $45 3-course meal. So chips and dip sampler. They've got their queso, their salsa, and their guac. I've tried all 3. They're all delicious. Then the taco trio, followed by some sopapillas. And Johnny Sanchez has such a fun atmosphere as well. You can sit out on their patio where you get a look at the lazy river there at L'Auberge. It's just a really cool vibe.
And I think the thing that sticks out to me most about their food is everything feels so fresh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's one thing that really stands out. And so Great, great option there. There's also Drago's, another three-course meal. They start with gator tacos or charbroiled oysters, which you're going to be hard-pressed to find anyone that does oysters better. Then a main course that includes a 16-ounce ribeye steak, or you can do fried shrimp and lobster, and that's followed by a hot brownie a la mode. I guarantee you by the time you eat all of that, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to walk out of the restaurant. You'll have to be wheeled out or like rolled like the young lady from Willy Wonka.
Oh, Violet? Violet.
Another options inside L'Auberge is the Ember Bar and Grill, a 6-course meal. 6. They're the most courses of anyone else they're offering. So it starts with a ceviche and then a vol au vent, which is a stuffed seafood-style pastry. From there, it's an entree of a quail. And then there's intermezzo, which is a grapefruit granita. It's kind of like a sorbet that's there to palate cleanse you, if you will.
Okay.
Kind of an in-between. They then move to a beef short rib, and then that's finished off, if you somehow have room for anything else, a caramel apple crumble with vanilla bean gelato there on the side. There's nothing better to me than a apple or fruit-based dessert finished with some type of ice cream there on the side, or in that case, gelato. That hot and cold mixture for dessert is the perfect way to end a meal.
Over at the Golden Nugget at Chart House, you can chart your own course there. Soup or salad for an appetizer, followed by a 10-ounce prime rib, bronze salmon, or a shrimp trio. And for dessert is their mini lava cake. Chart House is always a good option.
Chart House is one of those that is always comes highly recommended for those wanting to really step up their game with what they get. And Chart House does a great job and sounds amazing. Let's move on to quote-unquote off the beaten path. We're talking restaurants outside of Lake Charles in Sulphur, Vinton, and Westlake. We'll begin in Vinton with insane sausages, $10 lunch and dinner, some of the best sauces in town. I know they have sausages, but their sauces are so amazing. They're offering their Boudin Ball burger, which they told me that last year they offered it, and people couldn't get enough of it. For weeks after Chuck Eats Week, people would come in and say, "Hey, do you guys have the Boudin burger?" And they're like, "No, sorry, that was a Chuck Eats only special." And they're like, "Well, maybe you should make it on the menu a little bit more permanently." So they're bringing it back for Chuck Eats Week. So if you remember having it last year and you loved it, make sure to swing by there again.
Over in Westlake is Jeannie's Bourbon Street Barbecue. This place is so cool, by the way. This is a food truck that they've built a restaurant around.
Yep.
So it is a really...
And it doesn't feel that way
No.
inside.
No, you would never know once you go
Correct.
inside, though, and you see it's very, very cool. Great looking bar as well there. They are giving you a choice of entree like ribs, chicken or pork, brisket nachos, followed by a choice of dessert. And we would suggest their white chocolate bread pudding
Oh, it's so good.
because it's delicious.
So good. And we talked about them on an Envy Eats episode earlier in our catalog. Anna and I did, if you kind of want to learn a little bit more about the restaurant, which features a Winchester Museum on the walls.
That's
It's
right.
really, really impressive, especially if you're a collector of sorts. And they've got a really impressive collection on the walls.
And they have such an interesting story as well of how they landed in Westlake. When I tell you that they threw a dart at a map,
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened.
Yep.
And they landed in Westlake, Louisiana, and they said no regrets. And we're
were
so excited to have them.
Award-winning traveling pitmasters.
And we're very excited to have them here.
You can definitely tell their quality when you go. Jewel's Cafe, also in Westlake, is offering their $15 lunch and their famous cowboy burger, which is an 8-ounce beef patty. They throw grilled chicken on top, bacon, cheese, spicy ranch, pickles. It is an impressive burger. So impressive that you could say it's cover worthy. It's been on the cover of magazines like Lanyard magazine, so you know that this burger's got the goods.
Staying in Westlake at Pincher's, a $19.95 dinner special, including a side salad and shrimp fettuccine Alfredo, followed by a dessert with a slice of tiramisu cake. So for under $20, you get all that. Sounds really, really good.
Yeah.
And tiramisu cake.
And Pinter's is great, and obviously that dessert's going to be just amazing. Another place with tiramisu. There's a reason, because tiramisu is a delicious cake. Not necessarily my favorite, but also when it's in front of me, I'm going to eat it.
It's up there.
It's good for sure. Then the Village Coffee House in Sulphur, they're doing their $20 coffee flights, which includes 4 different 8-ounce drinks from their flight menu. So it's a real chance to kind of split amongst maybe some friends, or for the coffee aficionados, like the person sitting across from me, you just get 32 ounces of coffee, of different coffees that you get to try.
As I take a sip of my coffee. That sounds good to me, and no, I don't need to bring a friend for that. I can definitely drink 4 full-size coffees in one sitting. No problem. And from Village Coffee House, you know they're going to be delicious.
Oh, yeah. And there's so many other options on their menu. That's just what their Chuck Eats special is. So the Village Coffee House, definitely a place that you need to give some time to, because they're doing a great job there in Sulphur.
And like we said, with all of these Chuck Eats restaurants, like some of these are not things that you're going to see on their regular menu. These are only available this week to give you kind of a fun something to really be excited about for Chuck Eats week.
Yeah, and some are kind of on the discount side, and some, like you said, are new. So a lot of different experiences await you during this 10-day Chuck Eats week. Now, you can get all of the latest news for Chuck Eats for this year and moving forward. Sign up for our newsletter. You can find it chuckeats.org. All of the restaurants and their deals are also listed there, chuckeats.org. And it's worth checking every few days, kind of leading in, or maybe the day before, that you're going to be able to choose where you go, because there are new deals and restaurants that are added as restaurants kind of want to change the game, or new restaurants kind of want to get in. These are the 32 early adopters, but we imagine there may be a couple more that kind of add on there. So just check the website as you kind of plan your 10-day excursion through Lake Charles and this culinary journey that we hope that you join us on.
And a quick shout out to those 32 restaurants that are already on board for Chuck Eats Week, because this is such a cool, it just shows off our restaurant community in this area and how connected they all are. And they all want to be a part of this week, which is really exciting. And so way to go. And we thank you all for being a part of this.
And we, too, want to thank you again for listening to the first special edition podcast of 2024. You know, every few months or weeks, we'll kind of have one here that kind of gets off of the topics of our conversations and really allows Jillian and I to give you a guide into some events, or maybe restaurant week that's coming up. We'll also have a Mardi Gras one here coming up the next few weeks as we kind of look through all of our events coming up. Be sure to check out that as well. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us here. If you enjoyed the show, as always, please follow the podcast if you're not already, and leave us a rating or review. And look, tell a friend, text somebody, and just say, hey, I listened to this podcast. The guy has a voice to die for. It's like velvet and peanut butter. You got to hear it. Louisiana's Playground Podcast.
It's like velvet and peanut butter. That's what I think when I hear you, Brady Raynard. All right. That girl's okay too.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
Thanks for the shout out. Look, leave us a rating review like Brady said, because of course that helps us grow our audience and further share the unique experiences that Lake Charles and all of Southwest Louisiana has to offer. So you can go to visitlakecharles.org/podcast for more episodes, or wherever you get your podcast, for more episodes on where to eat and what's happening this weekend.
And chuckeats.org for more Chuck Eats information as well.
That's right. I'm Jillian Corder.
And I'm Brady Raynard. Thanks again for coming play at Louisiana's Playground. C'est you.